So if you like pratfalls and funny accents, and let me be clear, I do, then this movie is totally worth the price of admission.
The easiest way to summarize this movie was once said by George Washington. Peeps just be trying to sell that sweet, sweet merch.
And what he's referring to is this being a spin-off of the Despicable Me franchise from Universal. You take the most lovable aspect of those films, which are the little minions, and now you give them their own feature film. I thought it was hilarious and a fun ride. You have a story of three minions, which is Bob, Stuart, and Kevin, and they go out on an adventure, and you see them evolve from serving stuff from the dinosaur age to T-Rex to Dracula to different parts, and they go from master to master to master, and this is before we meet Gru.
That part was great. That was actually one of the best parts of the movies. And then it sort of starts losing pace a little bit after there, but the first few minutes of that movie with the intro are very, very good.
I mean, if you like what they brought to the first two films, it's pretty much now you get an hour and a half version of them just causing chaos, the same type of jokes. I loved them in those movies, and I love them in this. Now, I thought it was a fun ride.
I'm hesitant to try and be too hard on this movie because it's just a kid's movie. But I mean, let's be honest, it's being held up against Pixar movies. There's some good things about it, though, that I really did enjoy. And I want to try and be a little bit less harsh. I'd like to say that the voice acting in this was good in some areas. John Hamm was great in this. I also thought that Michael Keaton making sort of a surprise voice on there. The thing I love most about Michael Keaton is that he can take any small role and he can just Batman the ever-living crap out of it. I mean, that's the only way to say it.
Scarlett, she doesn't hold a candle to what Steve Carell brings as Gru to the Despicable Me franchise. She doesn't really have that presence or anything that makes her unique. When Kristen Wiig was added to the second Despicable Me film, she had a personality, and she had her own character. And for this one, it felt like just a generic villain. It worked. It was something to move the plot along. But it definitely was not the strongest aspect of the film.
I just want to say, Sandra Bullock's voice isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that, I mean, do you think of Sandra Bullock for her recognizable voice? I mean, I guess it is recognizable, but it's not distinguishable by any means. Kristen Wiig, that was a much better example and a better use of voice acting in it. I liked her, and then, like you're saying, Steve Carell, by far the best. But there just was some better options on this. They kind of played it safe with Sandra Bullock, and for the amount of money that I assume they had to spend getting her on this, I just don't know if that was really worth it.
Now, what did work was most of the jokes and the plots involving the minions. Not so much them going from point A to point B, but it was more of what happened to them and all the scenarios that they're put in, from just gag runs to them not understanding what a fire hydrant is or anything else. It's simple gags, but for a kids movie, they work. What I did like was that the movie did have stuff for the older audience and some jokes and references to, since this is a 60s movie, a lot of callbacks to 60s classic music, which they did a good job with.
I mean, for a movie where the protagonist is three characters who speak an unrecognizable language, I don't know how you could do a better job telling the story. I really don't. They did as good a job as they possibly could, giving the set of characters that they were working with. It was really, really not an unbearable movie. I just think it was okay.
Scarlet! Don't you Scarlet me.
At the end of the day, I still really enjoyed the film. I found myself laughing. I found myself invested in the plot. For that reason, I give it 8 reels out of 10.
You definitely just hit a button with me. I did not find myself invested with the plot at any point. Let's be honest, we're comparing this to Pixar movies as their direct competition. And the best thing about Pixar movies is the compelling stories that they have. This just wasn't there. It was an okay movie. If I was forced to take a kid to this movie and bear through it, I'm sure it would be okay as far as kids movies goes. But considering the amount of great kids comedies that have been coming out in the past few years, I'm giving this 5 reels out of 10. It was just okay. And this has been our opinions on the Minions movie. And just like they say about opinions, everybody's got them. Ours just happens to be correct. So, if you've liked this, feel free to keep checking in regularly. We're going to have content coming out more and more frequently. And share with a friend if you've enjoyed.
This has been The Real Report with Ryan and Ryan. Until then, catch you next time.